Hi friends, hi. Welcome back to another Cairo ASMR video. So, I figured we would try some soft speaking. We would take a really relaxing ASMR topic and make it witchy and mythical, which you know, if you know me at all, that I'm into. Why am I all done up today? With scales. Because we are going to start a gods, goddess, mythical series, if you guys want, with Medusa, who is one of my favorite, and I think is somebody whose lore has been misconstrued, and she's kind of gotten a bad rap. So let's talk about it. Okay, so starting off, we all have probably heard or know about Medusa and Medusa lore. She, I think Homer was the first one to write about her, and she has been a Greek mythology being, an entity or whatever you want to call her. She was very famously known as a woman who was turned into a Gorgon. So a Gorgon is, and I have my notes because I made it like a school lesson. A Gorgon is a being with bodies covered in scales, with large round heads with venomous snakes as their hair. Some say they have boar-like tusks on their body and on their head, and massive serpent split tongues. And they have bright eyes that can turn you very famously into stone, as Medusa had. Before we go any further, I do want to issue a trigger warning. If you're unfamiliar with her lore, or even if you are, there are adult themes brought up, specifically having to do with abuse and sexual assault. So this is just a trigger warning that if that is going to bother you, I'm not going to harp on it because I think we all understand, but it is something that gets brought up in the video. So I love you, and if this triggers you, I'm so sorry. I'll make a video that doesn't have things like that in it after, I promise. Okay, so as the lore starts, Medusa was not always a Gorgon. She's actually one of the only half-human Gorgons in the lore. The lore states that she was a human in very, very long back Greek times. She was actually a high priestess who worked in Athena's temple and who worshipped Athena. So a lot of people have said Medusa has presented as a winged female creature, head and hair fully made of snakes. Some say she has boar tusks, some say she has the serpent tongue, and some say she doesn't. Others say she's been depicted as, or shows herself as, a beautiful woman. Now I'm passionate about this, and I am jumping ahead, but the lore states, and we will get way more into this, the lore states that she was turned into a Gorgon as an act of wrath and punishment from Athena. And you can believe what you will about the lore, but I think it was kind of over time the lore was misconstrued, and I actually think it was as a gift from Athena, so that no man would ever look upon her again or take advantage of her again. But we will get to that. I'm very excited. I want to talk about it. Okay, so it was notable that Medusa was one of the most beautiful, gorgeous women. And that is why she caught the attention of not only humans, but gods, most notably Poseidon, unfortunately. It was also known at this time, like I said, that she vowed celibacy because she was a priestess in Athena's temple. Now, Athena is the virgin goddess of wisdom and battle. So being celibate and not engaging in sexual activity was very important to her and to being a priestess and honoring and worshiping her. And at this time, and in this lore, it was kind of the word of gods was the word of God, you know. Another lore fact in here is that Athena and Poseidon were known to have a feud and to be pretty much enemies. So the fact that he ends up going after one of Athena's priestesses and worshippers is another little cookie note in the lore of Medusa. Okay, so here is a part of it that is a little bit trigger warning, because Poseidon sees her and becomes mesmerized with how beautiful she is, and he thinks he must have her. she wanted nothing to do with him. She wanted nothing to do with any man. She took her vow of celibacy incredibly importantly, and it was one of her main things, and she turned him down in a very respectful but blunt way. Absolutely no, not happening. As wrathful gods tend to be, he ended up taking what he wanted anyway and assaulting her in a really embarrassing public way on the steps of Athena's temple. Medusa was left embarrassed, abandoned, hurt, assaulted on the steps of Athena's temple. Without knowing what else to do, she goes back into the temple and prays to Athena for guidance and for help. Now here's where the lore says that Athena comes down, and because she broke her celibacy vow. And actually Homer's lore doesn't say this. This comes later on after the myth has gotten construed. But says that she, as a punishment, turned her into a Gorgon. But from what I've heard, and just what I like to believe in general, Athena did this as a gift to Medusa. All Medusa wanted was to never be powerless or a victim again, and asked her so that no man would look upon her to make her a hideous creature, and so that she would have the power if any man looked upon her without her saying that it was okay, and without, against her will, they would be turned to stone. So it was actually a powerful protection and a gift from Athena, because Athena wasn't this wrathful, vengeful, god against women. It is also notable that Medusa never used her venge on women. She would protect women. If any man even thought about taking advantage of a woman, even if he didn't act on it, if he had it in him, if he thought about it, they would be immediately turned to stone. But the lore says that she never turned a woman into stone, so it was all out of protection and out of wanting to help people and stop people from going through what she had gone through. So if you didn't know, I am a bit witchy, and I, believe in being able to call in certain energies to help you through different parts of your life. So a lot of people who have worked with Medusa Energy, it's become known for protection for women, like I was just saying, and men and anybody who has been taken advantage of. She even is helps you against domestic abuse, and just if you're in times of transformation, she will help you through that. I mean, she gets this rap, or her lore gets this rap as a vengeful god, but truly it's just a protective energy. She had been through literal hell and just wants to help people not go through that. So yes, you can look at it as this evil, doesn't look before she turns you to stone, but I like to believe that in the lore there's a whole lot more that kind of goes into that, and that throughout our society and time, people get a bad rap, especially women, and stories can get a little bit, even lore stories can get a little bit tangled to from certain people, if that makes sense. So in the lore, Medusa as a Gorgon is like a deity of the ocean, of actually any body of water. It doesn't have to be ocean water. She helps you find your strength and inner power to stand up for yourself in many certain situations. It doesn't have to just be in drastic situations like that. It could be in everyday life. And if Medusa's energy, it is said, if Medusa's energy is protecting somebody, and you cross that person, Godspeed to you. Because she can be vengeful if you threaten people who have done no wrong and who, don't deserve what they're getting. So, that lore is very particular. She is also, aside from being a goddess of protection and inner power, she is also, which is not as much talked about, also known to be a goddess of fertility, femininity, and menstruation. So, you can also call on her if you are trying to conceive or have any reproductive health issues, which I thought was interesting because a lot of people don't talk about that. She also helps during times of uncomfortable transformation in life. So if you are changing for the better or going through a crazy transformation, you can call on her energy to help you. she really has just become a female or anybody self-empowerment symbol, specifically linked to feminine identifying people, but it could be anybody if you feel connected to it and if you want to read her lore and just feel closer to the lore. So whatever you're feeling, it's for everybody. So connecting to Medusa, if you ever want to connect to that energy, maybe empower yourself a little bit more. A self-care ritual, bonus points if it's in a bath or body of water. Really good way to call her in. She also has this connection to shells and things, because she is a sea goddess, deity, whatever you want to call her. Another way to feel close is to have seashell jewelry, candles, art, etc. Bonus points if you have a statue. Extra bonus points if you make that statue yourself. Power to you. I don't know if I could do that. And then also research her lore. Or feel called to watch this video. Whatever you're feeling. Some other ways to feel connected to Medusa is to stand up for women's rights. Which you could very much do right now. I feel like it's a good time to be making this video. You can meditate with Medusa in mind. Again, bonus points if it is by a body of water. Again, doesn't have to be an ocean, it could be any body of water. So there are certain offerings that you could give to her in the lore. So you can seashells or coral, hagstones, serpent depictions or snake figurines, petrified wood, beach sand, silver, aquamarine, the crystal, malachite crystal or moonstone crystal, pearls, obviously, seafood, and like any good deity, a little bit of wine. I really love this lore story and looking into things like this because I think that there's so many things that get a bad rep when people hear one thing and they're not open to hearing another side or open to seeing, the world is not black and white. There's a lot of gray area. So things like this I really like to look into because there is a lot of gray area in life and in lore and in history, and lore shows that, in a very dramatized way. So I have a big obsession with lore and with mythical things and like telling the story of myths and things. And when I watch ASMR, these are the things I love to watch. So I would like to do more of these if you guys are feeling them. Another one of my favorite deities is Bastet, so I would love to talk about her. And just if you have any you want to see, put them in the comments below. If you have any other myths you want to hear or explore, put them down below. I'd love to talk about Lemuria and Atlantis. Those are two of my favorites. So whatever you're feeling, thank you so much for being here to watch this video. I hope you enjoyed and were entertained for a little bit, and I will see you next time.